So it's the second leg for Manchester United coming up on Wednesday against Barcelona, and to be honest, I don't think there is much hope for Manchester United going into this game. We've rested players, or rotated should I say, players in that game against West Ham. Now I don't know whether that has a great deal on any game where Manchester United rotate, because to be honest, I don't think Manchester United have, besides maybe Pogba in the team, I don't see, if Manchester United rotate the squad, there is much difference from many players. Maybe in Luke Shaw, and that there's not too many players in the Manchester United team that you would say are set in stone. Players that should be certainly in that starting lineup. Maybe De Gea as well, but Romero still could do a fine job. So there's not too many positions in that team that are set in stone for Manchester United. So one week we could put what some people would consider a second string lineup out and beat someone like we did in PSG, where we made a number of changes and we actually won in PSG. Okay, it was difficult and we got a lot of luck, but then the next week we could have everyone fit and put out what he would consider the best lineup and lose. There's so many players that you're not sure who's going to come in and do the job. So whatever lineup he goes for could be wrong, could be right. To be honest, we need more first team regular starters that are shored on in that team. And at the moment, Fred and McTominay have come in and done a decent job, and they seem to be the starters at the moment. But a few weeks ago, if you'd said that Herrera and Matic weren't the starters, you'd have been seen as crazy. So which midfield he goes for, which strike force he goes for, I just don't know. But we're not going to win this game, are we? I mean, if we got a draw in Barcelona, it would be a very, very good result, but it would obviously knock Manchester United out of the Champions League. And some people just seemed happy that we only lost 1-0, because it did kind of keep the tie still in the balance. I mean, not completely in the balance. I mean, Barcelona are absolutely heavy favourites going into this second leg, but it kept it alive. I mean, if Barcelona had gone to Old Trafford and won 3 or 4-0, the tie would be 100% dead. That is why I think people are a bit happier, because most people are expecting Barcelona to come to Old Trafford and win handsomely. But it is difficult going to away games. Not many teams win against top teams, and Manchester United might not be the top team of old, but we're still not an absolute fucking horseshit team. So going away to England, to any team for Barcelona, was never going to be an absolute massacre and roll over 3 or 4-0. It just doesn't happen like that very often. We've seen Barcelona struggle in the past when Chelsea were pretty poor and actually got knocked out by Chelsea, and they went on to win it. So no Champions League games an absolute rollover. You've got to still beat who you beat, but at home I would expect Barcelona, the likes of Lionel Messi, to be on show. Away from home in the Champions League, in the knockout stage, he hasn't always been at his best. You're looking at a lot of games he's struggled in, but then home games we've seen in the past him banging 4 against Arsenal. We've seen some really good impressive performance from in home games, and I expect nothing different from Barcelona. To be honest, they're going to be on the front foot, going to create lots of chances, have so much of the ball, and Manchester United are probably going to be looking to stifle them and catch them on the counter-attack, but with the pace from whoever is up front. But I just don't see Manchester United getting anything out of this. But the only thing Manchester United can do is to keep it tight for the first half, and if Manchester United could go in 0-0 at half time, then the nerves may kick in a little bit for Barcelona. And if after the 60-minute mark, 70-minute mark, like Solskjaer said in the last game, if we're still in it at 0-0, then we still have a slight chance to go through, because one goal would then level the tie. So that's all Manchester United can hope for. Just keep it really tight and just look to nick a goal at some point and just take it all the way, to be honest. And I don't know, but I don't even know what sort of team Solskjaer's going to play. I mean, De Gea will be in goal, but I'm not too sure what he's going to do. It will probably be Ashley Young at left back and Delot at right back, because Luke Shaw is out, and it will be Lindelof and Smalling as the centre halves, I presume. Midfield's going to be interesting to see what he goes for. I mean, he's probably going to go for McTominay, Fred and Pogba. I can't see Herrera or Matic. I mean, Matic probably, even if he's fit, I think he's been ill, probably won't come back into the starting lineup ahead of McTominay, so he'll probably be on the bench. Herrera's out, so I presume that's the midfield he'd go for. But the front three, I just don't know what front three he's going to go for. I really don't. Probably going to, I mean, Rashford will be one of them, but I don't know who the others are going to be. I really don't. He might go for Lingard and Marshall again, but they were absolutely horseshit against West Ham. I just don't know. Is Lukaku going to start the game? I really just don't. I just don't have a clue. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to him giving Greenwood a start. I mean, honestly, he probably doesn't deserve a start at this moment in time, but he's had 3 cameo appearances off the substitutes bench now, and to be honest, Manchester United are probably going to go out in this game, and it would be a great experience for him to get a start for Manchester United away in the Nou Camp. It would be absolutely fantastic if he could do that. It would be a massive shock if he's even on the bench, because Alexis Sanchez and Matic should be back for this game, so I can't see Greenwood being along the substitutes bench. But to be honest, with Lingard and Marshall being in such poor form, as well as Lukaku, and Rashford's been in better form recently but hasn't been in great form, I just don't see why not. You can't do the guy any damage. The confidence this would give if you started Mason Greenwood in this game, even if Manchester United lose, would be massive. It would give him massive confidence that the manager believes in the young player, and that is all what you can do. I know people say if you go out there and get hammered and that this guy is 17. If he's got the bollocks to play for Manchester United, he would get over that, and it would just be massive experience. We've seen McTominay. No one thought that McTominay was going to be able to go into these games against PSG and against Barcelona at home and put in the performances that he's put in, and he's very inexperienced in these type of situations. The likes of Messi and Suarez. Messi's got over 100 appearances in the Champions League for Barcelona, and McTominay had a fantastic game in that first game. So why not just give a guy some experience? We're not going to get through this tie. I'm going to be very disappointed if we don't get through, obviously, but I'm expecting it, and I'm never going to be happy when Manchester United get knocked out of something. Of course not. And I wasn't happy that Manchester United lost in the first game. I just accepted it, to be honest. And people that were happy and seemed content with it, I think it's partly because the standards at Manchester United have dropped so much for Manchester United, and if we don't get in the Champions League this season through the top 4, which is right on a knife edge and I'm not too sure we will, and we're not going to win the Champions League, then next season all the objectives are going to be is just to get back in the Champions League, and it's just not good enough for Manchester United. The objectives each season should be challenging for that title, challenging for Champions Leagues and FA Cups and League Cups, not just challenging for a Champions League spot. Just not acceptable for Manchester United, and the standards just have fallen too far behind. But I expect better performances from Lionel Messi in this game. I really do. He was probably a 6 out of 10 in that first game, and I haven't seen him have a game like that for a while. So Manchester United are going to have to be right on guard with him. McTominay's going to have to be on his game. Fred's going to have to be on his game, and Pogba's going to have to step up more than he did in that first game against Barcelona if we are to keep the score down. I'm worried about the threat that Luis Suarez poses as well. Coutinho has been in and out of form, hasn't really been too good, but this Barcelona team is not the team of yesteryear. It really isn't. So Manchester United probably will get knocked out in this game, but really it's going to be disappointing because Barcelona aren't that team of yesteryear, and I think people were getting a bit excited with the fact that Manchester United didn't get battered in the first game when Barcelona didn't actually play very well. If we'd played against the Barcelona teams that we'd played in the past where we lost to them in the finals, this game would have been 3 or 4-0. It really would have been. This isn't the same Barcelona team. The midfield without Xavi, Iniesta, the back 4 isn't as good. PK's getting on in years. It's not a great back 4 either. That midfield just isn't as good as Barcelona of yesteryear, and you can't expect players like the likes of Xavi and Iniesta, who have been 2 of Spain's great. Xavi's probably Spain's greatest ever player, and Iniesta's up there as well. You just can't replace them players very, very easy, and Lionel Messi has been the catalyst behind Barcelona race to the top of the table this season in Spain. If it wasn't for Lionel Messi, Barcelona would not be winning La Liga this year at all. They would have no chance. He is that massive catalyst behind them. He has been their main man. Suarez has been up there as well, but hasn't been at the level he's been at in recent years. But Lionel Messi has just been completely different class this season, and without him, they would be, I don't know where they would be. So even if Manchester United get knocked out and only lose 1 or 2-0, which I expect it to be a bigger scoreline, to be honest, in this game, then you've got to look at it in the sense that Manchester United aren't coming up against that vintage Barcelona team. It is still a very, very good Barcelona team, don't get me wrong, but Manchester United have fallen so far off a cliff in recent years that we're looking at it that if Manchester United don't get beaten by a heavy score, that Manchester United have done well. And you can't say that. This Manchester United team is very, very poor, and we've got to improve massively for next season to even get closer to these teams. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. I think Barcelona are going to win the game. I'm going to go for Barcelona winning this game 3-0. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think he would gamble and keep Mason Greenwood on the substitutes bench for this game? We will probably see when the under-23s play on Monday night who is involved for them. If there's any injuries to concerns for Manchester United, we'll probably hear that in Ollie's press conference this week to see whether some youngsters have to be shafted in if the likes of Matic and Sanchez aren't ready to play for Manchester United in this fixture. I would presume some of them are back, but there may be other injured players to contend with. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll talk to you all again soon.